Hello and welcome back to episode 47 of In the Corner. I'm Cash. Today is the day. It's May 2nd. Tonight we're going to get to see Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Teofimo Lopez all in separate bouts in the ring in Times Square, New York City, New York. I can't believe we're about to see this. The ring looks great. It's going to be a fantastic event tonight, and I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to break that down. But what we're also going to do is we're going to talk about tomorrow night's event with Canelo Alvarez versus William Scull for the undisputed super middleweight championship in Riyadh. Really strong card in that one as well. And we're not done there. Sunday night, pound for pound king Naoya Inoue, the monster's coming to Vegas defending his undisputed super bantamweight titles against Ramon Cardenas in Las Vegas. And yeah, it's going to be a crazy weekend. And to give every event its own shine, what we're going to do is I'm doing episode 47 today, which we're going to preview them all and talk about some other news. And I'm sure we'll talk about news throughout. But tomorrow I'm going to drop an episode. It's 48. And that's what we're going to break down everything that happened in Times Square. And then on Sunday morning will be episode 49. We're going to break down everything with Canelo. And then episode 50 will come out on Monday morning where we'll talk about Inoue. And that will be shorter episodes this weekend, but we're going to do essentially, including today, 4 episodes in a row. So it's going to be crazy, but I'm just so excited. And I feel like every event is so massive and such a big deal and so exciting that they deserve their own opportunity to be broken down. So we're going to do that. We've also got UFC Des Moines on Saturday night, which is a very good fight night card. And BKFC is an event tonight as well that we'll talk about. Last night we had PFL, which we're going to talk about in a bit. Not the best card ever, but some interesting stuff happened for sure. And got some other news and stuff with Ilia Topuria, Naoya Inoue's next fight, Fabio Wardley looking for a new opponent, a whole lot of stuff. Let's dive right into it. First up, we're talking about the fights this week and why everyone came here. Now, tonight, we're going to be in Times Square, like I said, huge event. Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero in the main event. This fight, I don't know how long it will last for, but it is going to be fun while it does. And to be honest, I mean, this is just a fight that I feel like it's almost weird. I feel like putting all these guys like Ryan and Devin and Tio, these top American stars, in separate fights has kind of taken away the excitement about it a little bit. I feel like this is Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney too. It'd be so much bigger. But I understand it. We know why they're doing this. They're trying to build it up. But just to think about last year, we were about to get Ryan versus Rolly on April 20th instead of Ryan versus Devin. And everyone was really excited for it. Everyone was very much looking forward to it. And, the build-up was great. They were talking so much smack. And then that was when Rolly pulled a fast one and everyone ended up fighting Pitbull. And, of course, that did not go his way. But, it's just interesting to me how, they can just pull such a – it's weird. This fight a year ago was going to be huge. And now it's happening and it feels like an appetizer or something else. There's not as much beef there. It just kind of feels like, oh, Ryan's back. Oh, he's fighting Rolly. Cool. This is a really exciting fight. And the build-up has been pretty funny. And we're going to get a really good fight tomorrow night, I think. I think it's going to be a lot of fun while it lasts. It's headlining a pay-per-view. And these are 2 really big punchers. You look at the records. A lot of knockouts in there. So we're going to see something go down. As for who I think wins, let's be real. It's probably going to be Ryan. Do I think there's potential for an upset? Yes. I think that every single one of these fights are still good fights, and there's potential for an upset. And we're going to talk about that in a bit. But I think that Ryan will win this one. I think he can do it inside the distance. I'm not confident that he will, but we'll see. This is for the WBA regular welterweight title. And, of course, if Ryan and Devin win both their fights, they're certainly going to try and set up that fight. But we know that the WBA is looking to order whoever wins Ennis versus GSI, which will probably be Ennis, and whoever wins this, which will probably be Ryan, versus each other. So WBA is looking to try and make Ryan versus Boots, which I'm okay with as well. But, that's what I think is going to happen in the main event. I think Ryan will probably win inside the distance. It's possible that he goes the distance. I do think that he wins it. And I think it's going to be a really fun fight while it lasts. And I'm just excited to see Ryan Garcia back in the ring. Co-main event, Devin Haney returns. And I was thinking, when was the last time we saw Devin Haney in a non-world title fight? It's been a very long time. It's been years. But here we are. There's no title on the line. Him and Jose Ramirez, they're both moving up to welterweight. This fight looks like it's at a catch weight of 144 or 145. Haney weighed in at 143. Ramirez, I think 143.8 maybe. So it looks like 144 was the weight, which I find interesting. I think that this is because neither of them are too confident that they're going to stay at 147, and they're just trying to test how they feel, which makes sense to me. No, to be honest, Devin Haney is mainly going to 147 because, first of all, we know that he's still really big for 140, even though he only fought there twice. But I think that he really just wants that Ryan fight, and so he's willing to move up the weight class to go and get to Garcia. But listen, man, I think that Devin Haney wins this one. I don't think that Jose Ramirez has looked too impressive at all as of recent. I don't think he's washed, but we saw Arnold Barboza. That was a competitive fight, but Barboza beat him. And the fight before that, with what was it? He fought Rances Barthelemy. I thought that Ramirez won the fight. He won most of the rounds, but I'm pretty sure he got hurt early on or something, and he just didn't look good at all. So I don't understand all this talk of people saying that Haney has the biggest test, and I think people are mainly saying that because of how poor of a performance Haney had last time. And I understand that. And Ramirez is still a former unified champion. He's still very much a top fighter. But I think this is one that Haney will win. I think it can be fun. I think I think I'm really excited for it. I think it could be a fun fight, but I think that Haney will win this one by decision. I think that it'll probably be a pretty good win as well on the scorecards. That is, I see Haney winning most of the rounds. Like, I see this being like a 9-3 kind of fight. It could be closer. It really could. But from where I'm sitting, I think that we're going to get a good Devin Haney performance. And, he's been out of the ring for a while, and Jose Ramirez hasn't looked the best. So I think Devin Haney wins this one by decision. Now, the most interesting fight on the card, if you ask me, the most competitive is Teofimo Lopez, Arnold Barboza Jr. This is the only true world title fight for the WBO and Ring Magazine, belts at 140. And this fight was ordered by the WBO. Barboza beat Jack Catterall in February in a very close fight to get the interim title. He is mandatory. He's been waiting for mandatory for so long. He finally gets his world title shot. And this may be crazy, okay? But I feel like there's so many fights on this fight. When you look at fights like this, when they're all set-up fights, and they're all the huge A-side fights, there's usually an upset. And even though Teo Barboza is the closest fight on the card, I think that that's the one that's most prone to an upset. And call me crazy, I'm going to pick Arnold Barboza in this fight. I don't usually ever pick upsets that I'm like super confident in. I'm not super confident in this. We know Teofimo. He doesn't look great when he fights lesser opposition, but then when he gets in with the top dogs, he goes crazy. Like look at him when he fought Lomachenko, Josh Taylor. He had the most impressive performances ever. You put him in there with Jermaine Ortiz, you question if he won that fight. Where's Barboza in there? Barboza is better than a lot of the guys Teo has fought most recently, like Jermaine Ortiz, like Steve Claggett. But Barboza's no Lomachenko. Kambosos was able to beat Teo. I think that Barboza beats Kambosos. Granted, this is Kambosos of a few years ago. But yeah, man, I think that Barboza, it's hard to say because I feel like Teo just hasn't looked great his last few fights. And he hasn't looked super disciplined. He's still kind of very, very funny about it and stuff. But you look at Barboza, man, and he has just been on a terrific run. He's been very active, very active. He had the questionable fight with Sean McComb. Then he beats Jose Ramirez in a fight I did not think he would win. He beats Jack Catterall in a fight I wasn't picking him in. And now he's doing Teofimo Lopez, and he's just one of these guys where it's like, how many times does he have to win before I start giving him his credit? And I think that I'm going to pick him for the win tonight. We'll see what happens. It's a very close fight. I literally am putting it in Barboza's favor, like 51-49, but I want an upset. I'm picking Arnold Barboza to upset Teofimo Lopez. The 140 division is so crazy with who wins these fights, and I think that somebody's going to get upset tonight. I don't see it being Ryan or Devin. I see it being Teo. So that's my pick. I think Arnold Barboza by decision. He's not a knockout guy. This will go the distance, even if Teo wins, I think. But yeah, I'm hoping for a good card. You also got Ryoto Tsutsumi on the card against LaVale Whittington. He kicks us off in a very interesting fight. In that Tsutsumi, is this huge prospect and stuff, and of course he's still in a good fight. But Whittington is like 1-2-1. I feel like everybody's really hyping him up. Maybe it's just because they're trying to sell the event, but I see Tsutsumi putting on a very good performance. We're hearing that this guy's could be world champion the next year or two. Like, that's how good he is. So I'm really excited to see him impress. And yeah, it should be fun. And now, of course, I'm not going to pick this fight, but we've got Gennari versus Allen, which is NYPD versus FDNY, Battle of the Badges. That's a lot of fun. They threw that on this card, kind of some local New York buzz on it. And yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's just like such a weird card when you have Garcia, Haney, and Lopez on the same card and none of them are fighting each other. than the pro debut of a Japanese prospect, and then a cop and a firefighter fighting over 3 rounds, and it's in Times Square. It's just the most random thing, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be a pretty fun card. Okay, let's talk about tomorrow's event. Canelo Alvarez returns in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to defend, or actually not to defend, to unify against William Scull. I forgot, he's not undisputed anymore. William Scull has the IBF belt after Canelo had to vacate it because he didn't want to fight William Scull. William Scull has now won that belt, and he's got something that Canelo wants. He has a reason to fight him, and he's doing it. And also, Canelo's got a huge fight with Terrence Crawford in September. He wants to stay busy. Who's the guy he can stay busy against, but knows he'll probably beat? William Scull. So we'll see what happens. I definitely think that Canelo's going to win this fight. I think it's really interesting that I feel like nobody's really talking about Crawford this week. Because, of course, Canelo does still have to get through him. And I think that William Scull, looking at him, he has a huge height advantage. And I think William Scull could have a little bit of success. That was a good Mexico versus Cuba fight. But I see Canelo looking very good here. I think Canelo has looked really good in his last few fights. He hasn't gotten a lot of knockouts. And to be honest, I think that tonight that could change. I think that this is probably Canelo's easiest opponent in a while. And I think this is one of his biggest mismatches. I saw he was like a minus 3,000 favorite, which is crazy. But yeah, man, I see Canelo winning this one. And I'm not confident he will. But because I want to see it happen, I'm going to pick him to do it inside the distance. I know William Scull has gotten buzzed before. We were hearing even rumors about Conor Benn knocking him out in sparring, and that's a 147-pounder. Imagine a 168er in there with you. He does have a big size advantage, so they could play into it, but I think that Canelo takes this one, and I'm going to say does it inside the distance, becomes undisputed again, and hopefully Terrence Crawford gets on that jet with Turkey and Eddie Hearn and Michael Buffer to get down to Riyadh in 24 hours so that we can get a Canelo Crawford face-off in the ring, because I know Crawford is in NYC. But moving on from that, I really don't have too much to say just because this fight feels like a warm-up for Canelo. And, I'm just happy we get to see it on this big weekend of boxing. Co-main event is going to be Badou Jack versus Naoya Inoue. I thought that it was going to be Jaime Munguia's fight, but it's going to be Badou Jack in the co-main instead. Badou Jack has fought on Canelo cards in the past. This is his first fight in over 2 years since he won the WBC Cruiserweight title and actually Saudi Arabia as well in the Jake Paul Tommy Fury co-main event. Naoya Inoue was the Cruiserweight champion. After Badou Jack became champion in recess, Naoya Inoue fought for the vacant belt. I don't know if he really defended it at all. I know he was trying to have the fight with Ryan Garcia and so much stuff got in the way, but then he got put into champion in recess. Badou Jack came back. Jack was trying to get a fight at Bridgerweight. That didn't happen. So it's now Badou Jack versus Naoya Inoue after Ryan Rozicki got injured and pulled out of this one. Should be an interesting fight. I picked Badou Jack to win this one. Neither guy's been very active, and Badou Jack has been around for a long time. I think he's like around 40. So we'll see how good he looks in there, off such a long layoff. But I do think that he's overall the more skilled fighter. And yeah, I'm going to pick him to win this fight. I'm not like overly confident in it or anything, but yeah, I'm just going to say he wins it and defends the title, and then I see him going for unifications, hopefully. Next on the card, Jaime Munguia, Bruno Soros, running back. Interesting that Munguia is the A side. And, this is an interesting one because that last fight, Munguia was absolutely dominating and beating him up and then just got hit with a huge shot and knocked out. And fair play to Bruno Soros. Not even a big puncher, but he was just able to land a punch from the gods and put my Jaime Munguia on his ass, and he stayed there. So I think that this is going to go the same way that a lot of rematches go, where the A side gets upset and it's crazier, and even when they don't get upset and they just have a bad performance like Ben Whitaker versus Liam Cameron, they correct what they need to. And I mean, looking at that fight, it was really the one shot. Jaime Munguia was winning every second of that fight until the KO. So I'm going to pick Jaime Munguia to win this one. I think it's possible he does it inside the distance. I think he was on his way to a stoppage last time, and I think he's got some venom in him now. So, we'll see if he is able to get that done. Yeah, I'll pick Jaime Munguia inside the distance, sure. I know this one's only 10 rounds, which don't love, but it's whatever. And I think that Bruno Soros still has good fights ahead of him. And again, he is the A side in a way, although he's not in the A side, which is weird. But, he's should be the favorite. He did win the first fight and knock Jaime Munguia out in a huge shocker, but I just see Munguia putting it right. And then next we have Martin McCauley, F.A. Ajagba, who were the stars of the press conference. They've got some real heat to their fight. I can't wait to see this one. It's going to be great. McCauley, of course, was knocked out by Parker, but that was on like 30 hours notice. and a ton of jet lag, and so it just wasn't the best wasn't the best Bakole at all. This is Bakole after 2 months of training. I'm a little bit worried. He did get knocked out just about 2 months ago and is already back, and Efe Ajagba is a very big puncher, so we'll see. But I think this is going to be a fantastic heavyweight shootout. It's going to be a lot of fun while it lasts. It could be really boring, but I think it should be a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm hoping we get to see that Martin Bakole that we've been talking about as the boogeyman, but Efe Ajagba is on huge upset possibility here. I'm going to pick Martin Bakole, and I don't think this fight goes the distance, so I'm going to say he does it by stoppage, but I'm not super confident that he will, so we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a good one, I think. It's going to be a good one. Definitely the fight of the night, and I'll say Bakole, but no promises there. Marco Verde makes his pro debut. He's with Eddie Reynoso, so that should be good. Brian Leone, who is a 6-0, 6 knockout guy. He should be in a fun fight, returning to the ring in a 6-rounder. You got Muhammad Al-Akel, who makes his return to the ring against Alexander Morales, who's 6-13. Al-Akel is a very good prospect in Saudi Arabia. I really have been impressed with him. And then you have Richard Riakporhe, which is so random that he gets added to this card. We do not know who he's fighting. He's fighting Kevin Nicholas Espindola, who is 9-9. We don't know how many rounds it is yet. I'm guessing by the looks of it, this is going to be 6, maybe 8 rounds. A little bit silly if you ask me to do this fight. I don't really get it. If not, just keeping him busy, but whatever. I think that Riakporhe should be able to get this one done. He's got 13 knockouts and his 17 wins. He should definitely be able to get this done, especially with the new heavyweight power. But yeah, so that's the Canelo card. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. People are crapping on it a little bit, but listen, man, Canelo does not always have the best undercards, and he does now. I think that with Riyadh season, they do good jobs with the undercards, and even when Canelo's getting so much money and taking up that budget, this is a very, very good undercard. Just the 3 fights before it are all fantastic fights. And then moving on to Sunday, Naoya Inoue returns against Ramon Cardenas. This is going to be an Inoue knockout. I don't even really need to say too much. I don't think that Cardenas is bad or anything. I think he could get a world title shot, just not against Inoue. And Inoue is him. He's so good. He wins this. We did just find out. It is now signed Mirjan Akhmadaliev. We don't have the date announced yet, but we know it's going to be September 13th or 14th in Japan. Huge fight. It's going to be a banger. I think Inoue still wins that one, but it's the fight that was needed to be made for the division. And it's now official. Fight week for Cardenas versus Inoue. I think Inoue beats this guy in pretty good fashion, and then we move on to September. Not really too much to say about it. I just feel like I'm excited for Inoue MJ more, just because I feel like Inoue's kind of in a similar boat to Canelo, where we're in these fights where we just know he's going to win. So it's not a lot of fun. Co-main event on that one is Rafael Espinoza versus Edward Vasquez. This is a really, really good fight. So Edward Vasquez is moving down in weight to challenge the featherweight champion. If anything, if you told me this fight was happening, I'd say it happened at 130, because Espinoza is so big for featherweight. He's like 6'4". I don't get how he can make 126. But anyway, he's like 6'2". Excuse me. Anyways, he's back in the ring defending his WBO World Championship. Edward Vasquez is a really underground fighter. I mean, if you look at his losses, the Ray Ford one was very close. A lot of people thought he won that fight, and the Joe Cordina one was super close, and they've been good fights. He's a really good fighter, so this is a really, really tough fight for Espinoza. I think it's one that he wins, but I don't think that he stops him. Maybe I think this could go the distance. The stoppage is not out of the question. Vasquez has never been stopped before. Espinoza stops most people. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Espinoza is one of my favorite fighters. To be honest, right now, I think he's a lot of fun to watch, and I'm hoping for another good performance from him. This is a tough fight, but I think it's one that he should win, and great co-main event. Emiliano Vargas returns on this card as well. He just fought at the end of March. He's back in another 8-rounder against Juan Leon, who's 11-2. Hoping for another big win for him. Rohan Polanco is a very fun fighter. Returns against Fabian Maidana. So that should be pretty good. Maidana just had a world title shot last year against Mario Barrios. He did not win that one, but I think that we could be seeing a pretty fun fight there. On Polanco is a very, very good prospect at 147 pounds. And then you got Rais Alim, who returns after his loss to Sam Goodman in 2023. Decent fighter. He's in with Rudy Garcia, who's 13-1. So these are some pretty interesting fights that Top Rank is put together. Art Barrera Jr. returns on this card as well. And then Patrick O'Connor makes his pro debut. So only 7 fights. Not as much as we're used to seeing from Top Rank, but they don't have to stack this card really. We get Inoue Cardenas, and the co-main event is very good in its own right. So it should be a good one. Then moving over to UFC, we've got Cory Sandhagen, Deiveson Figueiredo. Really, really good fight at 135 pounds, if you ask me. I feel like 135 makes so much sense right now. We just need to see Umar versus Peter Yan, and that will be the perfect lineup for the division. Winner of this one is really in line for a title shot. Maybe an Umar rematch for Cory. Don't know if we really need that, or a fight with Peter Yan. I'm not sure. I think that Cory will win this fight. I'm not confident that he will, but I see him winning it. I think it should be a pretty good one. And yeah, it's a great main event. And then co-main event, you get Reinier de Ridder versus Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel looks to enter the rankings. I think he'll win this one. I think he's such a good wrestler, and I see him taking this win. He's hated by a lot of people. He's not the most exciting sometimes, but I see him winning this fight and entering the top 15 at middleweight. You've got Santiago Ponzinibbio, who returns. I feel like he just fought pretty recently against Daniel Rodriguez. That should be fun. Montel Jackson, Daniel Marcos. Some good fights in here. Jeremy Stevens returns against Mason Jones. That's a really, really fun fight. Both these guys re-entering the UFC. Jeremy Stevens, of course, is kind of like a hometown fight for him. We just saw him fight at Knucklemania a few months ago and thought he was going to stay with BKFC, and now he gets re-entered into the UFC. So, he's excited for that. And yeah, you get a ranked women's bantamweight fight between Yana Santos and Misha Tate. And then another ranked strawweight fight between Marina Rodriguez and Jillian Robertson. I think it's going to be a pretty fun card. It looks like it's going to be a very fun fight night. We had a good one last week at Kansas City, and now we get Des Moines, and the next week we're in Montreal for 315. I'm looking forward to it. I'm still not sure when I'm going to watch it. I don't know if I want to do the 2-screen setup for this and Canelo, especially when a lot of the fights are going to be going on around the same time. I wish this one started earlier, but it's whatever. We'll see what happens. And I'm just excited to see these fights go down. And then we head over to BKFC in Clearwater. Jared Warren versus Joseph Creer at light heavyweight. In the main event, I think it's like a 10-fight card. Should be fun. We'll talk about that more once it happens. Again, BKFC is just really fun. That is tonight, so I may watch that after the Garcia Romero card ends. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun and lots of chaos, as BKFC normally is. So now we're going to talk about the PFL card that happened last night. We had the heavyweight and light heavyweight roster do their first round of the tournament. Won't really spend too much time on this because it wasn't anything crazy. As for the heavyweights, it's going to be Valentin Moldavsky, and he's going to face Alexander Romanov, I believe, next in June. Moldavsky had a interesting win in the co-main event. A lot of the judging on this card was very questionable. I thought Moldavsky may have edged the fight. Round 2 was close. I thought he definitely lost first round. He almost got finished by Sergey Bilosteny in the beginning of that, and then I thought that he had a pretty good third round to, iron himself out. And, we'll see. A lot of people didn't really like the scoring. Alexander Romanov had a great submission over Tim Johnson. That was a lot of fun. That should be a good fight. Oleg Popov had a 29-28, split decision victory over Carl Williams, another one that was close. Rodrigo Nascimento had a very close win over Abraham Bowley. So a lot of these fights are very questionable in their scoring, and a lot of people are very mad about the PFL scoring and stuff. And to be honest, the pacing last night was abysmal. After the first 2 fights, because again, they were supposed to have an alternate fight, and they had to pull that because they needed one of the alternates to step in. And then we had, like a huge break in between fights because the second fight of the night had a first round finish, and then there was, I kid you not, like 40 minutes of just straight filler, no fights. It was horrible. I started watching a show while it was happening. It was just so boring, and they really need to figure out their pacing. I don't understand why they couldn't just push back the start time and make the start time of the card 8 p.m. and not 7:30. It was terrible. It was just so long with nothing, and yeah, it was really not the best. And then the pacing after that point was pretty good, I thought. There was a little bit of filler here and there, but I thought it was pretty good. It was just that 40-minute gap where I was like, what are we doing, man? It was awful. Moving on from there, light heavyweight division. We've got the winner of the main event was Phil Davis, who had a fantastic second-round knockout over Rob Wilkinson. I thought Wilkinson won the first round pretty well, and then Davis just put his shots together and had a brutal finish over Wilkinson, who moves on to face Who's he fighting? Oh, he's fighting Sullivan Kali, who also had a first-round finish over Alex Polizzi. So that should be a pretty fun fight. He rained elbows down from hell. I'm excited for that one. And then you get Simeon Powell, who also had a great second-round finish. He's in with Antonio Carlos Jr., who was the winner of another controversial decision. But they've got opposing styles. That should be a fun fight. So the heavyweight division, I think, is in a really good spot. I just wasn't too impressed with the heavyweights. There was a lot of fence hugging. In the light heavyweights as well, a lot of it. But, we'll see. Maybe it'll get better as we go along in the tournament. But I'm really excited about this 205 division. That was one of the standouts I've seen from any of the divisions yet. And they were talking a lot last night about Jason Jackson, Thad Jean, which will headline the event on June 12th in Nashville, I want to say. I'm really looking forward to that one. That's probably, honestly, maybe the fight that I'm most looking forward to after they both just had such fun performances on that first card. Okay, moving into some news. Ilia Topuria has announced he will be fighting June 28th on some Spanish news or something. He said he said, I can't be there. It was some kind of event that he sent a message for, saying he couldn't be there, with his reasoning, of course, saying, I have a fight June 28th. So we do know that that's going to happen now. We don't know who it is yet. We were hearing Ilia Topuria will be fighting for a title at 317 on June 28th, but we'll see who that ends up being against. Is it for the vacant? Is it for the undisputed? Is it for the interim? We don't know. We heard it wasn't for the interim. I think it could be Islam. I think that, honestly, the UFC may be waiting until making the announcement until right after 315. Honestly, I think that's where we're headed, with still not having one, and we're a week out from finding out if Islam moves up or down, which is crazy how they're waiting this long. But we'll see what happens. If it's not Islam, and if Jack De La Maddalena wins the fight, it'll be Islam for him, and then Ilia will likely fight Arman or Charles for the vacant, maybe Justin Gaethje, I don't know. And then if, say, Islam doesn't move up and Bilal wins, then it'll be Ilia versus Islam in a massive fight at 317. We'll see what happens. I just really want more clarity, but it's good to know Ilia will be fighting June 28th, and I'm sure he'll be headlining, and he will be fighting for the lightweight belt, it seems. Jarrell Miller is unfortunately out of the Fabio Wardley fight. They're looking for a replacement. I think that's supposed to get announced likely today. Hrgovic has apparently accepted the offer from Queensberry, and they're now choosing between him and Justice Hooney. Lawrence Okolie also threw his hat into the ring. I don't think that it'll be Hooney. I hope it isn't, because I just feel like that's pushing Hooney way too far. Obviously, he would accept the fight if he get the opportunity to fight for the WBA interim title, but I don't think he needs to be doing that. I love Hrgovic. I don't know if Hrgovic takes that fight. He had a pretty tough fight with Joe Joyce a few weeks ago, and now he's stepping in for another fight, and this is 5 weeks away, I think. It's probably not the smartest idea for him to take this fight on such short notice, but we'll see. We'll see if he takes it. I think he does. It's another 50-50 fight, and one that you could honestly maybe even favor Hrgovic in. Lawrence Okolie is an interesting one. I would like them to make that fight. I'd be totally fine with that. We're hearing he could be fighting Ajit Kabayel in Germany, so he would probably rather take that fight, and I'd like to see that one as well, because he is mandatory with the WBC, and Kabayel is interim champion, of course, so who knows who it'll be, but I think it will be one of those three. And yeah, it just sucks, because Wardley Miller was bubbling up so well. They had such a good press conference, and Miller is just so much fun. It was going to be a heavyweight banger, and yeah, it sucks that we're not getting that, but it seems like we will still be getting Fabio Wardley at Portman Road in a good fight. Matchroom announced their schedule for the summer. May 28th will be Masanori Rikishi versus Eduardo Nunes. We already knew this fight was happening. It had already been announced. It's an Ohashi promotion in Japan, and I'm pretty sure Yoshiki Takei is the main event, but what they did announce about this fight is that it will be on DAZN, not in Japan, but in US, UK, Canada, places like that, it'll be on DAZN. So that's lovely. I was worried about this fight not being able to, to broadcast it, but we're going to get to see it. I think that it should be a pretty good one. I think that Eduardo Nunes does win this fight. We'll see. I'm not sure if this is the main event or Takei is, because on DAZN they're saying this, and I hope that we still get to say this is the co-main event. I hope they don't cut off the feed after this fight, because I want to see Yoshiki Takei. Of course, he's a world champion as well, and he could be fighting Tenshin Nasukawa soon. May 30th, they announced, will be Manuel Gallegos versus Khalil Ko2 in where are they fighting? They're fighting in Mexico. This is a fight that they've been working on for a while. Khalil Ko obviously was stopped by Gallegos in November in Philadelphia in a huge upset that just really surprised everyone. He just didn't look good. He was tired, super gassed, And, Gallegos had a great performance. He's a tough guy, and he was maybe a step too far for Co. So I like that they're going the rematch route. I don't know, honestly, if I even want to pick Co too much. I was just not very impressed with him last time. But, he wins this, and he was looking to get to world titles. I don't think he's anything close to that. But wins this and gets back on track. It is interesting they're throwing him in the lion's den. He's going to Mexico. And so hopefully there will be some fun stuff there. And then the big one, June 14th, it was announced Richardson Hitchens will be defending his IBF Super Lightweight Championship against George Kambosos Jr. in New York City at the theater. We knew this fight was being made, and I'm so happy it did. It honestly is such a fun fight. I know that Kambosos does not deserve the title shot, and I'm kind of upset that they did make this fight, but the build-up is hilarious. They really don't like each other. They're both really good at promoting their fights. Say what you will about if you like them or not, but they're both pretty funny with their promotion and good trash talkers. So this is going to be a really fun fight, and Hitchens beats the brakes off Kambosos. I think he wins every round. July 19th, it was announced. We knew this was happening as well, but he's just so happy to see in Texas. We're going to get Bam Cafu and Pacheco Macumbi in a huge Texas doubleheader. It's going to be brilliant. I can't wait for that fight. Bam Cafu, it needs to happen. Bam needs to be unifying. The other champions are busy. And so I'm glad they were still able to get this down for him. And Pacheco's taken another step up against Trevor Macumbi. I would have liked to see him versus Christian and Billy, but I understand this is still a good test, a good step up. And, he still has the WBO position, so no need to rush. Okay, Tim Tszyu apparently had to enact the Fundora rematch before or after his first defense. That was a rule, so he could have done it at any point. But once Fundora makes his second defense, Tszyu no longer has the right to the rematch clause. So that was why he did it now, because Fundora was about to fight Zayas, and Fundora does not have an option. When the rematch clause is enacted, he has to take the fight. So he did not duck Xander Zayas, which is good to see. It sucks, but I'm not mad at the Thurman fight not coming through. I'm a little bit disappointed. The worst part is that apparently Thurman is now going to get the winner of Tszyu versus Fundora, which I think is a little bit silly. I don't think he's done anything to prove that he's ready for the world title shot. In fact, I don't think that Tim Tszyu should be fighting for a world title this quickly again either. But it is what it is. And once Tim Tszyu fights and potentially beats Sebastian Fundora, there was no reason for him to fight Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman was a part of Tim Tszyu's comeback trail. That comeback trail ends if he gets a world title again. So there's no point in doing it. I don't know. I hope Thurman doesn't fight the winner. That would just be kind of silly to me. Fundora has officially now been stripped of the WBO title, which makes sense as he, pulled out of the purse bid. So we know it'll be Xander Zayas versus Jorge Garcia Perez. At least that's what it sounds like for the 154 championship, which I don't mind at all. It does suck for Charles Conwell because he was so close to getting a big fight, and then as soon as he loses, the guy who beats him immediately gets that opportunity. That was literally like a week and a half ago. But fair play to the guy. Apparently, Usyk versus Dubois 2 has already sold 60,000 tickets in the first 24 hours. If you watched my last episode, I wasn't sure it would make that much at all. I think this is a brilliant fight. I think it's a big fight. I think it could do a stadium, but Wembley's huge. And there's still no promise it'll make 90,000, and it may not. But 60,000 in the first 24 hours is something else. And so I'm really excited to see how much they do. And I hope it does really well because it is such a big fight that I feel like deserves the whole world's attention. Eubank versus Ben. It's been reported by Mike Coppinger that they sold 620,000 pay-per-view buys. This is contrary to the 1 million reports we were hearing last week. I think this makes a little bit more sense. 1 million is huge, and I was very impressed. And this is still a great number, still a fantastic number. It does seem a little bit more realistic. Apparently, this is worldwide as well. So they can still do a rematch and make a lot more, if you ask me. And speaking of that, Conor Benn will be ringside on Friday as he wants the Ryan Garcia fight, which I love. I think that's a good fight. I think that Conor Benn should be throwing his name with those guys now. He's now got that superstar ability. We can do big UK versus USA matchups at welterweight. They're in the same division now. He's got that same name recognition after the Eubank fight. Let's make it happen, man. He needs to be in big fights, and I'm glad that he's really going for it. And he says if it's not Eubank, it'll be Ryan Garcia. Of course, you did just say it'd be Mario Barrios, which you do either world championship or super fight. So he's on a good path, I think. Most Valuable Promotions has announced their 13th Prospect event, which is Champion Edition. It'll be June 7th. Beatrice Ferreira will be returning. And she's still with Matchroom. Matchroom was kind of, supporting and promoting this fight a little bit. They posted her announcement, but it will not be a Matchroom promotion show at all. It'll be completely MVP. and she'll be defending her IBF lightweight championship against Maria Ferreira, who is 11-0. So 6-0 versus 11-0. Great undefeated versus undefeated matchup at the Crib Royale in Orlando on June 7th. This is probably maybe their biggest prospect event yet. MVP has totally taken over women's boxing. Beatriz Ferreira is not even signed with them, but she's a terrific fighter at 135 pounds. They were hoping to get unifications with her. Terry Harper's busy. Caroline Dubois isn't fighting her, so I don't mind this defense at all. It is a little bit weird that they're not on the Matchroom show. I feel like Matchroom is a lot of their women's fighters are getting put onto other shows, if not even them like dropping them. It's really weird to me, but it is what it is. Co-main event, we'll see the pro debut of Keno Marley versus Sean Sparks, who's 2-0, so they're putting him in a tough fight. I'm really excited to see him come in at cruiserweight. And then you get Luan Medeiros, who's 5-0, versus Tony Aguilar, who's 13-1-1, who is the most valuable prospects favorite. He just had his loss to Corey Marksman, who fights next week on a prospect show, and they fought on the Jake Paul undercard versus Mike Perry. And in a rematch of the first fight was a draw. It was a terrific fight. Second fight, wasn't as good, but Marksman beat him. So Aguilar now returns against an undefeated opponent. So that's what I love about these prospect shows. They really do put young prospects in with each other in tough competitive fights. Very much 50-50 fights, and I'm looking forward to this show a lot. Kevin Lerena defended his WBC Bridgerweight title yesterday, I believe in South Africa, versus Serhiy Radchenko in round 3. It was pretty one-sided, it seems, and it was a good finish for the champion. He's really the only somewhat name at Bridgerweight. I think that the other WBA champion is Muslim Gadzhimagomedov. I think that's his name. And honestly, I just like to see unification because I want there to be some kind of fight of merit in that division. We need to get some of these cruiserweights, big cruiserweights or small heavyweights in there. Otherwise, just get rid of the division. There's no need to have it. But it needs more notoriety for sure. Queensberry has officially announced the signing of Olympian Lewis Richardson. This is a guy that has had a lot of support behind him, and it is a big signing for them out of the Olympics. Hope to see him debut soon. I bet he could honestly end up on the Fabio Wardley show. And that's good. Queensberry was a little bit slower in announcing their Olympians than stuff like people like Matchroom were, but they've gotten some good ones like Delicious Ori and such. And so I'm excited to see how this one goes for them. Connor Tierney versus Danny Christie will be on BKFC 77 June 28th in Birmingham. I think they're fighting for like the UK title or maybe it's European. I'm not sure. Connor Tierney's a pretty good bare knuckle fighter, and he's headlining a big event. I think this is in like an actual arena there in the BP Pulse Live, I think. So BKFC's getting a pretty good summer schedule lined up. And then lastly, Turkey has announced his next signing, and it's not a boxer, it's Mr. Beast. Yeah, I don't really know what this means. He said it's going to be like they're going to bring Mr. Beast Park and exclusive challenges to Saudi Arabia, and Mr. Beast will be at the next opening ceremony for Riyadh season. Really, really weird. We know that he's been a fan of Mr. Beast for a while and has wanted to do this, but we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. I am also seeing now that Mauricio Suleiman has confirmed that Mario Barrios will be defending his welterweight title versus Manny Pacquiao in July. Manny Pacquiao coming off almost a 4-year-long retirement. It's just so crazy that fight's happening. We'll see if it really goes through and if he's able to make the date. I'm not too mad against it just because Mario Barrios hasn't looked super great. He hasn't had the most impressive title defenses, so this doesn't surprise me. We'll just see what happens and how much Pacquiao has left. And if Barrios beats Pacquiao, that's a huge win for him, and maybe he gets the confidence to fight in bigger fights. We'll see, but it is pretty crazy. So I'm really looking forward to this Ring Magazine card tonight. Got another one in Saturday night in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia with Canelo returning, and then you get Inoue on Sunday. It's just going to be a terrific event. Mike Coppinger is saying that ring walks for Tio and Barboza will be around 6 p.m. So it seems like 5 p.m. because they're advertising the whole time at 6 p.m. It seems like the Reito Tsutsumi fighting the Battle of the Badges maybe like for prelims for free at 5 p.m. And then we're going to get these Times Square fights, the main ones at 6 p.m. So they're doing it pretty early, which I love. This card's going to be done by like 9 p.m., which is terrific. I'm really excited to see these fights go down. It's going to be great. Jim Lampley is going to be on the call, because most of the team is going to be in Saudi Arabia, of course, covering Canelo. So just what a fantastic weekend of combat sports and boxing. Can't wait. Like I said, episode 48 tomorrow, talking about whatever happens with Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. Sunday morning, we'll do episode 49, talking about Canelo Alvarez. And then episode 50 will drop on Monday with Naoya Inoue breakdown. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you this weekend a lot. Follow me on X. I'm going to be watching all the fights live and tweeting the whole time. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. And, yeah, enjoy the fights. Peace out.